Why does my mouth always taste like old carpet in the morning?
Unknown. Checking medical logs.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
And this is
We Are All Kosh.
a Babylon 5 rewatch. It's time. Are you ready for this?
Some foreshadowing.
Season 1, Episode 13, Signs and Portents. This is the first episode in a while that's been actually written by J. Michael Straczynski, which is why it takes the overarching plot and gives it a giant kick in the ass.
Guys, you didn't put any of the stuff I recommended in there. The last 4 episodes. Come on.
What's really interesting is if you were on your first watch, there isn't a whole lot significant about this episode. And then you go back and watch it again and you're like, oh my God. Oh, look at that. Wow, they put that this far back. That's sort of the internal vibe while you're watching this.
So many seeds being planted.
So many. This is a good episode. Not just because Lord Kiro, who is a Centauri guy who shows up and spends his last day on Babylon 5 before he gets blowed up, is Garrett Graham, who is Beef in Phantom of the Paradise.
Which, if you have not seen Phantom of the Paradise, check it out.
All credit to Chris at Cinematic Anarchy for getting us to watch Phantom of the Paradise so we could talk about it with him, because he was like, oh, let's watch Phantom of the Paradise. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. And I watched it and I was like, oh, wow, what the fuck is this? If you too enjoy movies that make you go, what the actual fuck did I just watch? Might I recommend Phantom of the Paradise? It's,
It was the inspiration for Daft Punk.
It was. That's a very good way to put it. That really tells you everything you need to know about it, honestly. But this episode was written by J. Michael Straczynski. It originally aired May 18th, 1994. A long time ago. In a galaxy far, far away.
It can almost drink.
It can almost drink.
In the U.S.
1994, it can drink already. It's 31.
In May.
It's 31 years
31.
old.
Oh,
It's
I did.
31. You're welcome.
I was
welcome.
a decade off.
Welcome
oh my
to
gosh.
the 2020s.
Like I said, I'm good at math, not arithmetic.
I'm an engineer, and that doesn't mean I can do math. This is such a good episode. We finally meet Morden, and astute watchers will realize that he played a character in The Gathering, or the very first episode, like the pilot episode. He's one of the bridge crew. This isn't a reprisal of his character. It's not like...
It's a different character.
It's an entirely different...
They just liked
It's a
his actor.
coincidence, yeah. Kind of like they got the guy that played Soul Hunter 2 to come back like 3 episodes later, sans makeup. A bit like that. This is in the 90s, guys. No one was going to TiVo him and be like, wait, I think I saw him. Didn't I see him? It wouldn't have mattered. You couldn't have gone back and checked. It's
Except
fine.
for that one guy.
That
or
one
girl.
guy who VCR taped it.
No. Who just is really good at memorizing faces.
Oh, you mean me? You mean me? You really want to watch a movie with me, especially a 1990s to early 2000s Canadian-made thing, and I'll be like, oh, that guy's in Babylon 5. Oh, that guy's that character in that obscure episode of Forever Night.
Yeah.
Forever Night, yeah. It's a skill. It's a niche skill, but it's a skill. It kind of reminds me of your roommate from college, NASCAR.
Yes.
His name was not NASCAR, but everyone called him NASCAR because you could give him a number and he could give you the history of that NASCAR car. every driver that had that number and all of their stats. And he had
niche skill.
And he had like the highest the highest traffic wrestling website on the internet at the time. Didn't it include
It was a catalog
luchadors?
of all. Yeah, it was all professional wrestling,
Yeah.
including luchadors.
I just love that for him. You know what? Go off. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You want to have a website about your niche interest and you want to be the best at your niche interest? Who are we to throw the first stone? Go the fuck off, man. Do what you want. This is going to be a hard episode to talk about without spoilers. I am going to do my best. We are going to do our best. If you're watching this through the first time with us and you're following along with the podcast and watching at the same time, first off, kudos. Oh my God, I didn't know we had that kind of fan base. But second of all, maybe skip this episode and come back later. I don't know. I'm probably going to allude to something huge because there's a lot huge happening here that doesn't feel huge the first time you watch it. And then you go back and you're like, oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. And it's really, I know I've said this like a million times, but I just want to drive home the point that this was not done. This was not done. You did not have this kind of foreshadowing, this kind of through plot in the way that Babylon 5 had through plot.
Right. It may have happened before, but not on prime time.
No. And there was no... Watching this through in 1994, this would have felt so unique. You watch it now and you're like, well, yeah, of course of course plot from a previous episode should change what happens in the next episode. But nah, dog, that's not how it went. You started an episode in one place and you had to end in the exact same place.
Unless you had an explicit to be continued.
Yeah.
And then the next episode was continued from with a summary.
Right. There was no, you didn't, because you could lose viewership. If you had too many episodes in a row that informed each other, you could lose viewership because somebody could miss 2 weeks, go on vacation, forget to set the VCR, miss 2 weeks, come back and not know what was happening, and they'd just stop watching it. Because it's not like you could be like, well, I'll go online and see if they're streaming those episodes or whatever. No,
there was no online.
That wasn't a not a thing.
Kind of.
There was online, but there wasn't online for like streaming.
But I mean, like maybe you get on the BBS or the forum.
There was an episode of Forever Night that I kept missing, and it was I knew what episodes I had because all of my VCR tapes were labeled. And I knew what episodes I should have because I could go on the Sci-Fi Channel website for Forever Night and get the list of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew there was one I was missing. I had no way of knowing when that was going to air. So if I wanted to go ahead and watch it, I found the one person who had them available just on their website to download. Hey, you want to download this website? Click it. And you're like, cool, because I'm sure viruses were a thing, but like, nobody thought about
56K modem, download a TV show episode.
I downloaded that shit. It took me like a week to download the whole episode because it only downloaded when I dialed into the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I would leave it on as long as possible to get as much of it as possible. And then I'd have to and then my parents got a second phone line so we could leave it connected to the internet all the time. Not for me. I don't remember why they got a second phone line because they were never on the internet. I was the only one who knew how to use the internet. But it doesn't matter.
I can imagine your dad being fascinated with the idea.
Yeah.
That this was something valuable that you could do.
Yeah.
Like almost like a status symbol. Like it's a trophy he puts up on a shelf. Oh, yeah.
I have a
second phone line so we can stay on the
internet.
internet all the time.
Yeah. Well, I finally downloaded it, and then I burned it to a
video disc.
And I had one unlocked DVD player that could play it. And it was quite the thing. It was a capital P process. And that was the only way I got to watch this episode, because otherwise I would have just had to wait and watch and hope that it got rerun. That's what we're working with. So anyway, back to season 1, episode 13, Signs and Portents. What an episode title too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really just like, hey,
You
y'all.
leaned way in on that.
Hey, y'all. You should have just named the episode Foreshadowing. Just done away with the middleman and been like, everything in this is plot relevant. Please pay attention. Beep, boop, beep.
Sowing seeds.
Sowing Seeds, the episode. But we start with an Ivanova wake-up call, which is the most character development Ivanova has gotten since the Oops, I Almost Fucked a Bad Guy episode.
Yeah.
And the most important part of this is she has purple satin sheets and like a flouncy nightgown that she's wearing. And I would never in my life imagine that Ivanova has a specialty set of nightwear. A nightgown with a
Deep down,
collar.
she's a girly girl,
This is true.
but she probably believes it would destroy her career
No,
to let it be seen.
you know what she feels like? The girly girl who literally has no place to express her femininity, who doesn't have any place she feels comfortable expressing her
Right.
femininity. So when it does come out, it all comes out at once. Like when she gets to dress up and go out on a date, she wears like
Boom.
an evening gown and 5 hairstyles all at the same time. And then when she's at home in her room, she has purple satin sheets and a frilly nightgown, and she gets to pack it all. It like condenses down into these small moments where she's able to be really feminine, but then she has to ditch that. So when she can be feminine, it's over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. But she wakes up and her computer is like, oh, good morning. Should I download the last 6 hours of logs for you so you can review them? And she's like, yeah, sure. Grab it, store it, shove it. And the computer's like, what?
Clarify.
Clarification? And she goes, yeah, you know
So
what? Never
this
mind.
is a contrast to the rest of the like voice interaction we see with the computers.
Yeah.
And I wonder if she opted in for like the next gen like voice assistant or if this is a distinction between like personal assistant computing system and station like official computer assistant stuff. Because they do issue voice commands to the computer sometimes during their official capacities, but it's very simple formal statements.
yeah.
Whereas she's almost having a conversation with her computer.
She works
more
with the,
like
yeah,
casual,
more conversationally.
natural language.
She
stuff.
works with the computer more often than anyone else because she's at
she's
a
probably
computer
customized
terminal
it.
all the time. I don't
She's
think
probably
she's.
automated the shit out of her computer system.
She should have, hopefully. I don't know. She treats it like an AI where she talks to it. And then she asks the question, why does my mouth always taste like old carpet in the morning? And it's like, unknown, checking medical logs. She doesn't get to interact with a whole lot of other people. She spends most of her time in CNC talking to either the computer or the lady whose only line is, Commander, we have a problem.
Or the ships coming in and out.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But she does end up getting dressed, getting her braid together, getting all ready to go. She goes to work and Sinclair's like, well, good morning. And she's like, good morning.
You sleep well?
Yeah. She goes,
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, it's not the sleep. It's the waking up. I always have a hard time waking up when it's dark outside. And he's like, it's space. It's always dark outside. And she goes, I know. Like, why did I choose a career where I was going to be in space all the time?
Yes, it's always dark outside. But it's also always light outside.
Their planet has light. The planet that they are locked onto in orbit of, it is lit.
There's a sun.
There is a sun somewhere within enough vicinity that it
To have
reflects
a
light.
habitable planet.
It's not habitable.
I mean, it's basically habitable, except for like water. Because they go down temperature-wise, it's habitable.
Inside, because shh. Beep, motherfucker. We don't talk about that yet. You almost got me. I was about to explain it. Okay? Don't you. That was a trap.
Okay. What I'm implying is,
Listen, we're
from
not going to.
the long shots, we can tell this planet is in the Goldilocks zone.
How can we tell that?
You can tell by the way it is.
By the way it is. By the way, it doesn't have any precipitation or clouds or atmosphere or water or green or like life or
But
vegetation.
It could.
You know what? We're going to pick this
And
discussion.
it's enough light to
Hey,
power the
what?
station with solar panels.
It does have solar panels. You're right. But not from it's not like the planet is emitting that
No,
light.
it's the sun.
Yes.
You could what I'm trying to say is the station is always exposed to the light of the star of the star system.
Yes, correct.
So it's always dark outside.
What I'm saying is there should be a planet rise or sunrise moment that happens on the ship on Babylon
Not necessarily.
5.
It depends on how it's orbiting.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyway, Ivanova's not a morning person.
It can't be dark all the time.
Just like it can't rain all the time.
Yeah. It can't shadow all the time.
Shh. You're walking a fine line, sir.
This is
Science
lady who made me
important.
do shots.
Listen, some episodes just call for it. So anyway, poor Ivanova, no wonder she hates going to work. She walks in. Sinclair is inappropriately chirpy while she's not feeling very morning-like. And then immediately they're like, hey, we have a distress signal. And she's like, okay. Yeah, patch it through. And it's a Star Fury pilot requesting assistance because their transport has been hit by raiders. And this introduces kind of the interwoven plot that is going to affect kind of whatever else is happening, which is that there are raiders. They are bold as brass. They're swooping in, hitting ships, disappearing way faster than they should, and it's a problem. And my quibble with this episode is that everyone in this universe should know the limitations and the capabilities of different kinds of ships.
I would say the main plot hole for me with regards to the whole Raider plot line is they literally did this already. And the conclusion was, all these Raider fighters, they must have a CNC ship.
Yeah, correct. Early on.
And Sinclair forgot.
No, we make one reference. Garibaldi says, we cut off their access to heavy weapons. Why are they still able to do this? Because in that earlier plot, they're not necessarily hitting ships with a lot of fighters, but they are hitting them with well-armed fighters.
Right.
And they have that
the big
CNC.
interaction they've had with the Raiders
Yes.
involved the Raiders with a CNC ship.
Right, but they cut off their access through
But
the
that
NARS.
CNC ship didn't have
It didn't have
a jump drive.
No, not necessarily. Well, not that we know of because we didn't get that far. But it had a Narn on it. They were buying them from the Narns. So they've cut the Raiders off from. They've stopped the Narns from selling to Raiders. So the thought process here, I think, is we've cut off their access to ships. Who is just selling ships to Raiders? Well, I would assume anyone with loose morals and
surplus ships.
and surplus ships. But their thought process is the only people who have access to jump gate capable ships are like military level individuals of certain planets. Planets like Narn, Earth, whatever. No one on Earth is selling Raiders a jump capable ship, a military grade jump capable ship. So maybe they're thinking that a jump capable ship is inaccessible
to the Raiders.
To the Raiders. My thing here is that would have been my first thing. Oh, they must have a jump capable ship.
Right.
They're able to get out within an hour. They're able to get out without getting to a jump gate. Oh, they must be making their own jump gate. That is not.
Right. If they're not coming through the only jump gate available, they have another way to do hyperspace jumps.
Yeah, unless they figured out faster than light travel without hyperspace, in which case I feel like that would be a way bigger deal. That would be more valuable on the black market than anything they could ever find in a transport ship.
Right.
So if it isn't these ships are traveling faster than is currently possible with current technology, then they are using current technology to travel faster than we expect, which means they are opening a jump gate on their own. That is not, that leap is like, it's nothing. It's like, I have dirty dishes. I should put them in the dishwasher. How come the dishwasher works? Oh, because I put soap in it. Like that's as much.
How are they washing the dishes without scrubbing them in the sink?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Could they have a dishwasher?
How is it doing it? That's exactly what it feels like. Because they all know the limitations of technology in their universe. Mm-hmm. We as viewers could be confused because we don't necessarily, every time we encounter a ship, to us it looks like a new type of ship because they keep unveiling new designs of ships. Ooh, look at that one. I couldn't necessarily tell you what class this ship is, but there's absolutely nothing that says that Sinclair, who is a pilot, who is a career military pilot, wouldn't be able to go, oh, they probably bought such and such. My question is, why are all jump-capable ships not tracked and registered?
The same reason you don't have a control module so that the...
Human jump-capable ships. How come all human-manufactured jump-capable ships aren't tracked and registered? Because...
Libertarians. Okay, so I met a guy today.
Space libertarians.
I met a guy today.
Okay.
And... he doesn't believe in the government.
I mean, right now, nobody does.
He doesn't have a government ID. He has not used his social security number in decades. He does not exist on paper.
Okay.
Those people will continue to exist in 200 years.
Right, but are they making spaceships in their backyard?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No, okay.
Well, they work at spaceship manufacturing
Are
facilities
they buying them and grinding the
that
serial
share
number off the
their
ships?
personal values.
Okay. All right.
They're attracted to one another.
There are black market ship manufacturers.
Yep.
Is what you're saying.
Or this is not a human manufactured ship.
Or sometimes ships go missing. Sometimes ships go off
Sometimes
inventory.
you can just... Ba-doop.
Yeah. And if you could cut off the transponder, then...
If you can cut it off...
Listen, I'm just going to put this out here. I'm not going to talk about it again because if I have to bring it up every single time, they're like, how are they doing it? It'll be a really long episode. So what I'm going to say is this should have been obvious. This should not have been a surprise to literally anyone. Okay, spit it out, sir.
Trackability and affirming care. Snip, snip.
A little snip, snip. Yeah. I mean, I'm all in favor of.
It's called a transponder.
Yeah. Okay, we're going back to the episode now. I'm just pointing out. I'm pointing it out because I want it out there. I want to put my cards on the table. And I think this is a weakness in this particular plot. I think that we could have immediately said, oh, they must have some kind of a jump-capable ship. How do we disable the jump-capable ship?
The plot could have been exactly the same.
Yeah, by just saying...
But with the dialogue concluding, oh, they must have a jump ship.
How do we get there?
We just don't know where it is.
How do we get there and intercept this jump gate?
Out.
Yeah, how do we draw it out? That would have been as simple as that, but it's fine. This is a hindsight is 2020
The sequence of events stays the same.
Yep.
Just adjust the dialogue to make them less oblivious.
Yeah, it feels like, it's fine. All right, we're done. Okay, so they end up launching Delta Wing. Oh no, we're coming to save you, but it's too late. The Star Fury who is called, he gets blowed up and he dies. And by the time they get there, the raiders are gone. And they're like, how are they getting away so fast? And I did fast with the like camel caps. Like, how are they getting away so fast? Well, we all know it's fine. It's fine. In my notes, I said, I feel like they should have a really good guess about how they're getting away so fast. It's fine. The most important part of this whole sequence is Morden's here, you guys. It's Morden time, bitches. That is a great entrance sequence, by the way. Just the long,
walking down that hallway.
the long set of lights and him walking down the lights.
Rachel kept pausing to see if there were any foreshadowing.
Foreshadows. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they'll fold things in for you to catch on a rewatch. So I just want to check for it. And he gives his identicard to the guy. He like walks in. He gives his identicard, and they're like, "Wow, this hasn't been swiped in a while." And he's like, "Yeah, I've been out of circulation. I was just doing some exploring out on the rim." And the guy goes, "Oh, whoa, find anything interesting?" And he just goes,
Hell
Yeah.
yeah, brother.
"Yes," and smiles. It's a good smile. This guy's good. Morden is so good.
Oh, yeah.
I always love
This
it when he shows up.
actor
Oh
is
God,
amazing.
he is so good. Like
The amazing level of charisma.
yeah, just the really quiet. Like I have the biggest dick in this room, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know why yet, but I do. It's fine. I had to make another dick joke. We lost 2 followers after last episode. I think it was the dick jokes. I had to make
I don't think it was the
I
dick
think it
jokes.
was the dick joke. It's fine. It's fine. When you only have 150 some followers, you notice. But then we come back, and Ivanova and Garibaldi and Sinclair are having a scrum meeting.
Ooh, use the word scrum appropriately.
Thank you. Yes, no, 153. We got one back. We got one back, you guys. I like to think one person was like, it wasn't that bad of a dick joke, and they came back and resubscribed. But they're literally having like y'all, we need a chat. The raiders are a problem. We're not solving the problem. I've opened a ticket and nobody's working on the ticket. We need to get this fixed. How can we
give me a status update, please?
Who's assigned to this ticket? Who's working on it? What's our status update? How are we?
Please tell me any blockers that you have and who the stakeholder is for that blocker.
I literally put, they bad, they fast. Oh no. It's the summary of their meeting because they're like
My project manager has a whole category for external dependency. Bloop.
Yeah, they're like this is when Garibaldi's like, we've cut off their access to heavy weapons, but they still seem to be able to hit these people. They're figuring out when the transport routes are. They're coming in fast, they're hitting them fast, they're leaving fast, and it's a problem, and we don't know how they're doing it. And I've already said my piece, so I'm not going to say it again. But they're all like, I don't know. I just don't. How is this possible? We don't know the rules.
It's a conspiracy.
It's fine. Basically, they're like, we cannot have Babylon 5 be successful in its mission if we can't guarantee safe passage for ships that are coming here. Like, if you have to go through the Badlands, if you have to go, like, you have to march through the desert of ill repute to get here, you're not going to come here.
In the First Law books, they have one book that I really like. I think they call it Red Country, but they refer to it as the far country.
Oh.
As like the frontier lands.
I was thinking about the part in the Dark Tower, the first part, when he's just walking across the desert.
Yeah.
Forever. It's kind of like when he's on the beach, though, and the lobstrosities are eating him. That's basically
you can't guarantee safe passage.
That's basically what the space around Babylon 5 is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Although it didn't seem to be cutting down on any dock working stuff in the last episode, but it's fine. Ivanova does have a really good idea. She suggests that they profile potential targets so that they could maybe get there before the raiders, which is a good idea. And Garibaldi's like, yeah, but everybody fucking lies. It's the most cop moment he's ever had in his whole life. He's like, nobody puts the truth down on their shit. Everybody lies. It's like when you're coming home from another country and they give you that customs form and they're like, write down everything you bought. And you're like, nothing. That's exactly what I didn't even eat. And I shit everything out that I got while I was there.
Hey, Meg, what you got in your trunk there?
That's exactly like when you come back. When you come back from Canada and they're like, do you have anything? And you're like, nah, dog. I went over there for sightseeing. I didn't buy shit. You literally have a bunch of Loblaws bags in your trunk. That's exactly
20 pounds of meats.
A bunch of Cadbury's chocolates, some French toothpaste that your son's obsessed with for some reason. It's real life. Our son really likes toothpaste with French wording on it. Yeah, and you're like, nothing. And they just look you in the eyes and go, okay, because you're not worth it. You're small fish. And it's fine. And normally it's fine.
But then sometimes they ask you about firearms
Well,
and drugs.
That's always a no. They
If
only
you have a
asked you.
beard.
They only asked you about firearms and drugs. My favorite interaction, favorite of all time, is when we dropped kids off, turned around, came back, and they were like, "You just crossed the border 8 hours ago," and we were like, "We dropped our kids off," and they were like, "Say no more, fam. Have a great weekend." And just handed us our passports back. But literally, Sinclair's like, "Listen. If they lie, they lie. Like, we can't do anything about it. And if they get hit because they lied about what they actually had as cargo, that's on them. We can only do our best." And Garibaldi's like, okay, cool, dog, whatever. And Ivanova gets up to leave, and Sinclair's like, hold on, bro. I need a minute. This is a cool scene, actually. Yeah. I love when they do the 360 walk. I don't know who was in charge of the shots when they do that, but y'all, good job. Like, if you're listening to this, or if you know who that is, just tell them they did a really good job, because he pulls Garibaldi aside and he's like, listen, do you remember when I told you about how I got captured on the Battle of the Line and then I had those whole 24 hours where I remember nothing at all? Well, I'm trying to figure out what happened. Like, I've remembered a couple things. I've put a couple pieces together, and like, I need some help, but maybe mostly I just need a friend. And Garibaldi's like, you got both, dog. What's your deal?
Mr. Garibaldi, a moment of your time. Not long ago, something happened. I've been keeping it to myself, but the truth is, I need some help. Mostly, I need a friend.
You got both. What's the deal?
And then he does this really cool walk, because he leaves from behind the desk where he is. He walks around the edge of the room, and then he ends up coming to Garibaldi. And it's this whole like 360 walking shot, and it's so cool. And he's like, you have got to help me. You don't have to help me, actually. This is unofficial. I'm just asking you as my friend, can you look into this? Because I've looked into it and I've exhausted all of my resources, and I've got no other avenues. I've got no other strings to pull. But you have a lot more connections than I do. Do you think you can figure this out? And Garibaldi's like, are you really saying I don't have to do it like I wouldn't do it? Dog, I got your back. He's like, I'm going to do it. We're bros. I'll let you know as soon as I've got something.
Bros are broing.
Yeah, he's like, bros before Minbari? How can we do that? He's like, Garibaldi for before Minbari? No, that rhymes, but it doesn't work. You know, I'm gonna workshop this. We're gonna come up with a good one, because we're gonna need it again. And then we cut to Londo, because you know what this episode has been suffering from so far? A criminal lack of Londo. And he is chilling at the casino bar, which I think is where he chills he may sleep there. I don't know. We haven't seen Beer in a while.
That's his third place.
It is his third place. He has home, he has the casino, and then he has the casino bar. That's his third place.
The gambling table is his second place.
Yeah.
His place of occupation,
and
vocation.
This really sleazy guy shows up, and he's like, gives him the merchandise. He doesn't say it that way. That's what it feels like. Basically walks in and
Where did that come
from deep inside my soul.
This guy had such a neutral accent.
He did. He did, but he's that character. He's like the fixer character. He's like, I got you the goods, man. And he hands it to him, and Londo's like, whoa.
If you don't mind me asking, How did you get it?
And he's like, oh, you don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
This is actually really good storytelling. This is a really good, like, broad stroke. He doesn't even need to create a character. He just creates this absence
A
of
vibe.
character.
Yeah.
Where you as the viewer can fill in
He gives
whatever
you this
you want.
big shelf, and you can fill it with whatever you want.
Had he given you anything, it would have ruined it. But the fact that he's just like, this guy just shows up. He's got some bodyguards in some toy-ass pants, by the way.
Yeah.
They are this. It's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad, but they are wearing some. It's
Yes,
tight.
I was aware of the decorative bodyguards.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they're wearing vests too, which I feel obligated to point out. And he puts the box down, and Londo gives us some really good exposition. Thank you, Londo. He's like, oh my God, you guys, this is the eye.
Great maker.
Nice piece of jewelry, isn't it?
This is not a piece of jewelry. This is not the merchandise. This is the eye, the oldest symbol of Centauri nobility, the property of the very first emperor. It comes from the earliest days of the Republic, lost over 100 years ago at the Battle of Nashak.
I know the story, Ambassador. And I'm glad it means something to you. But to me, it's just another commission.
This is not jewelry. This is not
Merchandise.
the merchandise.
This is a long lost Centauri artifact lost over 100 years ago at the Battle of Nashak. He's like, this is literally the symbol of the emperor. This is the ultimate symbol of nobility in the Centauri Republic. And it's been missing for 100 years. And you just, found it? Do you want to tell me how you found it? And he's like, no, you don't want to know. Because he's like, it might be the eye to you, but to me, it's just another commission. And now that I've got my pay, I'm going to go. And Londo picks up the box and walks off with it. And behind him, Morden is sitting at the bar, drinking and listening to everything they've been saying. I don't think he was just there for the drinks and the snacks. I think he was there for more than that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. We'll find out.
And this is a good moment. This is a perfect moment. Pretty much anytime J. Michael Straczynski writes an episode, we get a really good Londo and Jakar scene. And this is a good Londo and Jakar scene.
Just filler character building.
A little, and then a little bit catalyst. Every single moment that we have with Londo in this episode is slowly prodding him closer to his confrontation with Morden.
Yeah.
And his confrontation with Morden is going to be so significant eventually, we will come back to it.
Yeah.
So these are all building blocks for both of them to where they finally end up. Because Londo goes and pushes the button for the elevator. And this guy's standing right next to him, and they're just standing there waiting for the elevator. And Jakar shows up and pushes the button again. And Londo's like, hello, Ambassador. And Jakar goes, Ambassador. And he's like, I have already pushed it. Jakar goes, I pushed it again. This is such a good moment.
This poor bystander.
I know. He's just standing in the middle like, oh my God, I really hope they don't pull a knife on each other. And Londo goes, I hear there's a famine in your southern hemisphere. Oof, my condolences. And Jakar goes, yeah, well, maybe you should have thought of that before you strip mined my world. And Londo's like, oh, you mean the fact that you've continued to strip mine it to build the mighty Narn war machine? Like that?
Yeah, we get this really kind of insightful commentary
yes.
from Londo to Jakar, where Jakar's people are like, they're doing things the only way they know how to do them.
Yeah.
But then Londo's criticizing them for doing the same things the Centauri did in a derogatory way.
The overall vibe is that Londo is fucking tired of being Jakar's bad guy.
And Londo's trying to, I think, explicate to Jakar that you Narn are no better than we Centauri.
Yeah.
So get off your horse.
Yeah. It's really, You're really, it's still our fault. All of this is still our fault. Okay. Because he goes, all right, yeah, so you continue to strip mine it for the mighty Narn war machine. And Jakar goes, yeah, we have the right to defend ourselves. And he's like, okay. Yeah, so blaming us for the things that you are doing yourself, that's evolution. That's great. That's cultural evolution for you. You've really grown the fuck up.
There's a really good line from a book I read recently. And it's the same thing I've heard from a more like sociological psychology discussion, but it's first it happens to you, then you do it to others, and finally you order other people to do it.
Wow. Okay.
And that's the cycle of trauma.
That is the cycle of trauma. And that's what we're chatting about right now in front of this tube access.
Poor bystander.
This poor bystander in the middle. And Londo loses his shit. He's like, cool, okay, why don't you think of this famine as a blessing? Because it can rid you of all that excess population that's really holding you back. And Jakar goes, okay, one more word out of your mouth and you're going to become excess population. And Londo goes, yeah, well, you can go to hell. And Jakar goes, you can kiss my pouch. The mystery deepens. We now have actual confirmation that Jakar has a pouch.
This is the second reference.
We can mark it down. Check.
Both of them are like expletives.
Yeah.
Buy my pouch and you can kiss my pouch.
Yeah. So, unless from a certain point of view, I suppose even human children could be considered pouchlings. If you hearken back to the origin of half of their DNA, which is from what some might say a pouch. So unless they are referring to their repository of genetic material as their pouch. And a pouchling is like, I have deposited my pouch's genetic material in your pouch, which is effectively what happens for humans too.
Like a pouch is a sack?
Like a pouch is a sack. Thank you. Yes, honey. Like that. Exactly. You get where I'm going here? Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm just saying that we're going to keep an eye on this. Okay. I got my eye on it. The poor guy in the middle, as soon as the tube opens, he's like, whoop, 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 and he just runs directly into it. He's like, I am out of here. And then the door shuts while they're still arguing with each other. And they both look at each other and go, look what you made me do at the same time. And then storm off. And it's chef's kiss perfection. It was funny. It was entertaining. It was character development. It was insightful. It was informative. And it was interesting. And it was 5 fucking minutes of the episode. And it was perfect. That's good dialogue.
Mm.
That's what that is. Because we learned about their relationship. We learned about how Londo is currently feeling because he is under constant oppression from Jakar for shit that he did not do. They have been free for 100 years. He didn't do it. Is he still under?
No living Centauri was actively involved.
Yeah. And it's not great what they did. The legacy is not great. The reparations were not great. Shit's still fucked up. But
and the systems that enabled that and were designed under that situation are still in place.
Sort of. But everything about the Centauri have been robbed of their power. And the loss of the Narn homeworld is sort of emblematic of the beginning of the fall of the greatness of the Centauri Republic. And so every time Jakar harps on it, what Londo hears is, remember when you used to be bigger and better? Remember when you used to actually deserve the title of the Great Centauri Republic?
Remember the stories that your grandfathers used to tell you?
Yeah, about the Great Centauri Republic. It's not great that that's what he hears, but that's what he's hearing because Londo is a patriot. If nothing else, Londo loves his people. He loves his government. He loves his status. He loves the way that his government functions. He loves everything about it. He just wishes it was still the way it used to be. He's longing for the glory days that he never saw.
Right.
And every time Jakar brings it up, it's a reminder of the fact that he wasn't there, will never be there, and we'll never see it again. And so the fact that he gets pushed earlier on in the episode is just a little bit of a kick down the hallway towards his ultimate goal.
His
Not really
outburst.
goal, but his ultimate destiny, his fate, one might say. So we come back to Sinclair, who is enlightening Garibaldi about Delen's involvement in what happened to him after the line. Because Garibaldi's like, are you fucking sure it was Delen? And he's like, yeah, it was Delen, dog. It was definitely Delen. And he's like, wow, Jeff, 10 years ago, that's a really cold trail.
11.
Does he say 11?
Mhm.
Oh, he's like 11 years ago, Jeff. That's a really cold trail. And he's like, God, don't I know it? Can you just do your best? And he's like, oh my God, like I can do anything else. I've only got my best to give, buddy, for you. I love their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I love how close they are. He's like, thank you for bringing me in on this. Like, thank you for trusting me. You're the only one who's trusted me in a really long time. Since the ice mine, since I was a battle-hardened 19-year-old on Europa. And Sinclair goes, don't thank me yet. We may both end up regretting this conversation.
Bum, bum, bum.
One more time for the people in the back. We may both end up regretting this conversation. That is good dialogue. And you know why? Because J. Michael Straczynski knew where they were going. So he could throw in these beautiful little lines that mean absolutely nothing right now. And they are going to be so good later. And it's, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox about why we don't do TV like this again anymore. Or again, really. But again, I've said my piece, so I'm just going to leave it right there. I put in parentheses after that, truer words. So then we come back to Morden talking to Jakar. And this is when we first get our, like, real interaction with Morden. Because we've seen him, but we haven't seen why he's
What's he
there.
up to?
And he's literally only asking, what do you want? And he's asking Jakar, what do you want? And he's like, I don't know. What do I want for breakfast? What do I want to go out and do tonight? Who do I want to fuck today? I don't know. What are you asking me?
He's fishing for leverage.
He's fishing for ambition.
Well, right. But he's fishing for, someone who has ambition. Someone that he can actually provide what the person wants.
Yeah.
And then he can deliver it to them on a silver platter in exchange for favors later.
In an ongoing capacity. Because he
Yeah.
gets Jakar to be like, yeah, I want the Centauri wiped from existence. I want to suck the marrow from their bones and grind their skulls to powder. I want to burn their cities, blacken their skies, and sow their grounds with salt. Oh, Andreas does such a good job with those lines too. He's like, I want them to burn. And Morden goes, okay, I'm with you. Then what? And he goes, yeah, I actually have no idea.
As long as my home world is safe, it
I don't
doesn't
think
matter.
It doesn't really matter what happens to me after that. That's it. That's all I want.
Wait! What do I want? The Centauri stripped my world. I want justice.
But what do you want?
To suck the marrow from their bones and grind their skulls to powder.
What do you want?
To tear down their cities, blacken their sky, sow their ground with salt. To completely, utterly erase them.
And then what?
I don't know. As long as my homeworld's safety is guaranteed, I don't know that it matters.
He's like, all right, cool. That was great. Thank you for your time. And then he leaves. And this is when Jakar's like, nonsense. And it's because his ambition is ultimately too small. It's not an ongoing ambition. It's not bigger.
Right.
It's not big enough. And then we come back to Londo, greeting another Centauri. And this is Lord Kiro, or Beef. That's what I call it. And
the rival singer.
His aunt, Ladira, he's like, oh, she's like the seer for my house, or fucking whatever. I don't know. I bring her everywhere. She's creepy. She says
she's so
shit.
overdramatic.
I don't even know, because she's literally like, oh, I'm weird, and she wanders off. Londo's like, oh yeah, I mean, that's a kind of a taxing journey if you're not used to it. So like, it's okay. I got you guys quarters. It's all arranged, whatever. And so she's over in the corner and she has a vision and she starts shouting, fire, death, pain, fire. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to shout fire, death, pain in the like embarkation
in the airport
area.
terminal.
She's like, Babylon will fall. I see death, destruction. And she passes out. And the most important part about, I mean, yes, she's having a doomsday vision. That's also important. Equally important is what's on the screen behind her, which we pause to check on. And across the top,
I saw Rolling Stones.
Matt was like, hold.
We need to find out what's on this screen.
And it is the 0G shuffleboard. That's the top one. If you want 0G shuffleboard, which I don't think would work. Like, how do you do? The enemy's gate is down. I don't know how you would do 0G shuffleboard. And then the gravity loss safety demonstration, the flea market, the Rolling Stones farewell concert.
Oh, you skipped the River Wideners Club.
Oh, it's later. I wrote them down as we figured them out.
Oh, okay.
River Wideners Club, which is a Monty Python reference. The Black Market basket weaving is another one. And then the Moog Mind Rave, which is pretty funny because they use a Moog in Phantom of the Paradise. Mm-hmm. Moog is like the OG synthesizer. It is the OG synthesizer. And it was invented in North Carolina. And they used to have a Moog Fest, or they may still have a Moog Fest every year.
Moog Fest is still a thing.
And a news headline that says Babylon 5 to host national conference. And that's all on the screen behind her. So most of the other stuff is like just funny in jokes.
It's like when we get a newspaper page.
Yeah. But the Babylon 5 to host national conference, I think that comes up.
I'm not going to let the cat in this time. I already did it once, and the cat ran away when I opened the door.
Well, you don't want him to sneeze in the microphone again? It's my favorite scene in the whole last episode. So then we come back to Ladira and medical, and we know she's in medical, so it's because somebody picks up like a sparkly cube and walks past the camera. And they're like, hey, you Kay? And she's like, yeah, I'm Kay. And then she heads off to go rest with her like short-haired bodyguards. And I want to address the hair for like a hot minute. Because if you're, again, watching this through with us, and you saw Kiro's hair and you were like, I just don't know how much longer I can do this. Bear with it, because eventually we're going to switch to a much better hairpiece for the Centauri.
Yep.
Especially Londo. Honestly, I saw a clip from later seasons the other day of this interaction that Veer and Londo have, which is just like so good. And I forgot how much better the hair is going to be. So hold on.
Yeah, Kiro's hair is
it's a lot.
Really not good.
I don't know what. They were like, can you do like a Londo thing where you just like, he has like a crest, and they were like, oh, crest. Okay. And then they laid him down and they just ironed his hair.
But it's so gappy. It's not even, the hair isn't uniformly distributed.
That's what they figure out.
The
they get like a smoothness where it feels more intentional and less like, I wish Veer knew how to do hair better. Like it's so just hang in there. It's fine. But she leaves and Kiro walks over to Londo and he's like, oh, she's always like that. It's like
so embarrassing.
I don't know why I bring her everywhere, because she's not even right. I mean, when I was 1 year old, she said I'd be killed by shadows.
You will forgive my aunt. She sometimes takes the role of prophetess too seriously.
Then you don't believe her vision?
She's been wrong before. On my first birthday, she said that someday I would be killed by shadows.
Shadows?
Doesn't exactly make sense, does it?
Can you believe it? Wild, right? And Londo's like, shadows? Psh, yeah, oh my God, who could be killed by shadows? Yeah, wild. Just, woo! Crazy town. Yeah. Anyway, so Kira's like, so where's the eye? Londo's like, it's safe.
Show me the eye.
It's safe. It's like He-Man. Where's Adam? He's safe. He's safe. Londo's wearing it right now. He's got it in his hair. So it's safe. He's like, okay, so my family has been waiting for over 100 years to see it again because it's like the symbol of my house. And I want it for a bit to see it, like just touch it for a bit before I turn it over to the emperor. And Londo's like, oh, sentimentality. Yes. Okay. No, I get that motivation completely. Let's go ahead. Right this way. Did they go to walk off to see the eye? And literally like 2 feet from them, this guy is like, they're on their way to get the eye.
Target identified.
1 of 6, 7 of 9. I'm on my way. I know. Yeah. That's probably one of the things that feels the most 90s.
Dated, yeah.
Is the compact way that we have to film so many scenes that like people are exiting and leaving in what feels like a very unrealistic pace, or like they'll walk by somebody and they'll like turn and do the look and then like
the overt subterfuge.
Yeah, and it's like anyone in their right mind would have seen that man leaning against the wall. They left medical and there was a guy standing there with like a communicator like
in front of his face
with a single potted plant in front of him, but like that only came up to his waist, and he's just like, I am the potted plant. And they were like, oh my God, that plant looks really healthy. And then they just kept going. Like that is the moments when it feels dated, and it was necessary because you had such a short amount of time to cover so much. You had such a small number of sets.
Right. It's a narrative device for condensing the story.
And you had to hit the commercial breaks. You had to leave the commercial breaks on a little bit of a...
Oh, yeah. On a cliffhanger.
On a cliffhanger. So people would, you run, get your popcorn, go pee, and then it's back on. And everybody runs back and comes back to watch the show. Like you got to leave them wanting more.
Yep.
And so you had to work in these minor cliffhangers throughout the episode. But then we come back to Delenn. We haven't seen Delenn in like...
a while. It's been multiple episodes.
I know it's not as long as it feels.
Since we've even said Delenn's name.
I know it's not as long as it feels because we took such a long time off, but it feels like a really long time. And she's literally like, okay, I'm sorry. What is the purpose of your question, Mr. Morden? And he's like, oh, the question is its own purpose. And she's like, okay, so I know you just went and saw Jakar. Are you asking all of us this question? She's the only one who's like...
She's the only one who's suspicious.
She's like, who are you and why do you want to know?
She's the only one who sees this as a red flag.
Which, tell me this happened...
Jakar and Londo only see him as a nuisance.
Tell me this happened before smartphone culture without telling me this happened before smartphone culture. Because none of them are like, oh, are you just trying to record me so you can put this on TikTok? Why are you really here? They're just like, okay, yeah, I don't know. I want to fucking kill all Centauri. How about that? How about that, bro? How do you like that? Instead of like, they're not PR aware.
Yeah.
In a way that you would be PR aware now. Delenn is. She's like, okay, so are you asking all of us this question? And Morden goes, I mean, maybe, but does that invalidate the question? And she's like, no. But it does make me wonder. And then she's like, she has a moment.
She's getting a migraine.
And then woo, her gray council is showing. She's like, oh, shit. My gray council popped out on my forehead. She covers her forehead real quick. And she's like, oh, a moment of fatigue. And so she turns around and she sees Morden completely covered in shadow.
It dims and gets darker. Like
and then she's like,
Gandalf.
She's like, oh, yeah, you're going to have to get the fuck out.
Do not take me as some conjurer of treat tricks. And the
I am not
shadows
trying to
swell.
rob you. I am trying to harm you. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to need you to get the fuck out. And he's like, what? I'm sorry, what? And she's like, leave now. And so he leaves.
GTFO.
And then she pulls her hand down, and we get to see her little triangle, and it slowly disappears, and she just goes, they are here. That's a good moment. Ah, so good. So excited. Every time we get a little bit of like overarching plot, I get excited. Then we come back to Kiro because he opens the eye and he pulls it out, and it's so arts and crafts, and I love it so much. I love these props because this would have looked so banging on a CRT TV because it would have been sparkly. It would have been big enough to see. You would not have been like, I'm sorry, is that bejazzled? I don't understand. Are those what were they called? The like crystals that everybody glued to everything? Not rhinestones, but they had a name. They were like Swarovski crystals or whatever.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It looks like it looks like it. It's so good. It's so good. I mean, we had this discussion a lot in Forever Night too, because they'd have these elaborate pieces that just look like macaroni. That was like, you know, where you lay macaroni down and you pour the glue on it and then you spray paint it gold.
Yeah.
That's what it would look like, but it didn't look like that. Okay. So you'd have to squint a little, just like squint. It's funny because since we've moved up here, I've seen so many CRT TVs on Marketplace, and I keep thinking about getting one so we can play these on.
Oh,
we can view them
I would
in the
be on
intended
board
medium.
I would be on board with an environment that reproduces the analog glow of CRT screens, but you can buy a little box that has a power supply and HDMI in and HDMI out, and it's programmable to do all the different analog effects, like scan lines for old video games and a bunch of other things. And so you can get that analog like glow and diffusion.
Yeah.
Without having to get a piece of old hardware.
Okay, but it'd probably be cheaper just to buy the CRT TV. And then
fun.
We could set up a 90s lounge. It could just smell like stale cigarettes, even though neither one of us smokes. Could have an empty Zima can, or they only came in bottles. An empty Zima bottle just hanging out.
Jolt Cola.
Pepsi Max. I mean, there's so many options. We could really make a 90s. Our kids are obsessed with the 90s. I don't know why.
It's not like they see that modeled to them.
I mean, our daughter's walking around wearing chokers today. She's like, I look like I'm from the 90s. And she had this
and
huge
high-waisted
hair.
shorts.
And high-waisted shorts and this like huge hair. I'm like, oh, bless. It's so cute. I'm just saying, it's an option. And then we would really get to experience the way the eye is meant to be seen.
And
he looks over at Londo and he's like, so no one else knows it's here? And he's like, no, I mean, the guy who brought it to me knows it's here, but like, he's real creepy and real cool. And we paid him a boatload of money and I don't think he's going to say anything. And he's like, cool. And then he looks down at it. And you want to quote Lord of the Rings? He's like, after all, why shouldn't I keep it? It came to me.
It's very Boromir,
And then
honestly.
he's like, instead of a dark lord, they would have a queen, as beautiful and terrible as the dawn. He's basically like, I could take this back home. It's my family's anyway. The emperor hasn't been seen in public in like a year. The prime minister has been doing all the ruling. Everything is changing back home. There's a lot of unrest. And I think it's really ripe for me to show up and be like, I found the eye.
I'm the emperor.
I think that kind of means I'm king now. And Londo's like, I mean, yeah, I guess that's why
he
they're
can do
so
the whole
desperate.
Simba song and dance.
Yeah. He's like, I guess that's why they're so desperate to find the eye, right? Because it's going to lend legitimacy to the current emperor. And he's like, yeah, but I could be the current emperor. Why must I give it to the emperor? And Londo's like, I mean, we all make sacrifices. I love how Londo is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? He goes, if you don't have backing, you're going to get killed in like a day. You can't just take over the government. These are no longer the good old days.
You can't just take over the government. These aren't the good old days.
That's what he says. I was going to get to that. We're like, of what? Of usurping power? Remember the good old days when he had 3 emperors in 1 year? Remember when that guy appointed his horse to the Senate? Do we even have horses?
God, the pouch on that guy.
Then he goes to leave and he turns around and he's like, where did it all go wrong, Malari? When did we lose it all? And this is just another
I was expecting a like witty like response from Londo, and he kind of starts off with that energy of like, oh, I don't know. And then he gets real sad.
He's like,
I don't know.
I don't fucking know. I don't know. I think Londo's walking a very fine line. He's been trusted with this incredibly important, incredibly expensive thing, the eye.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to give it to this guy. And this guy's just going to take it
No
home.
strings attached.
And it's his entire career is reliant on this thing getting home. And he just handed it to this guy who he was initially very happy to see. And this guy was like, I mean, I could take it and overthrow the government. And Londo's like, oh, no.
Let's please don't do that.
No. Because
there's another story I'm thinking of where they meet with like their old war buddy, and their war buddy just completely betrays them for their own personal benefit.
I mean, I feel like that's probably at least a plot of like 6.
I think the one that's coming to mind is the one from True Blood.
Oh.
Where Terry the
yeah.
good old boy.
Yeah.
His war buddy shows up and there's like a djinn after them or something.
It's been a long time since I've watched that show, but I feel like this is a very
it's a
archetypal.
It's
a very archetypal story where it's I'm trying to do what's right, but because of the way the chain of custody is going to go, if you do what's wrong, I'm going to be the fall guy too.
Yeah.
And so but I don't have any authority to make you hold your shit together except hope.
I'm vouching for you because we were friends 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just like, I think that you are high enough up in the government and you are aware of the consequences of your decisions enough that that's going to keep you in line, because that's what keeps me in line. And I'm really, really hoping it also keeps you in line. And it doesn't seem to be working, and it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, the guy's like, why are these not the good old days? And Londo's like, I got nothing. I wish they were. I wish they were.
Priming him even further.
Yeah. Every interaction he has in this episode is priming the pump, priming where he's headed. Meanwhile, we go back to Ladira, who's just laying in her bed having visions of everyone dying. I mean,
that would be really distracting.
Being a seer must be so much fun. I just keep seeing everything get blown up, and I just can't get it out of my head. You know how you get an earworm? It's like a song that won't go away, except it's a vision.
Yeah,
and
the
then
Centauri and their earworms.
And then I love how they have casually have people who can see the future. And they're like, oh yeah, this is my family seer or whatever. But like, she was wrong once, so we all think she's kind of a dramatic bitch. She can kind of see the future, but oh my God, does she have to be so extra about it? Like that's the vibe. But this woman can.
Well, okay. In Centauri society specifically, most of them have a dream that is accurate.
That's true.
Of their death.
They may all have some level of prescience.
Yeah.
And so
hers is just, she can see other people's deaths or
and
something.
to really kick it off, she looks Bene Gesserit. And she's just like, I think y'all are all going to die. And they're all like, okay, crazy lady. But then the Raiders are hitting another transport. Oh no. And this is the Achilles, which is a really funny way to name a thing that ends up being a potential weakness.
Yeah.
Hi, we're the Achilles heel.
We're undefeated.
We're absolutely not the weakest link. It's totally fine. I was like, this feels metaphorical. That's what I put in my notes. And they call out a Mayday for anyone in Grid Epsilon, which is Babylon 5. And Ivanova and the rest of Delta Wing have just been sitting in their ships. Do they have waste disposal? Can they poop in their spaceship, in their space?
Absolutely they can.
I mean, they'd have to, because sometimes they're in it for like hours.
Yeah.
What if you're like, wow, I really should not have had those Zocalo bean burritos?
They wear diapers.
No, I think they probably have like a
still suit.
Like an evacuation tube or something. I don't know. A still suit, maybe. Because they got to be able to eat and drink in there. So they got to have some kind of reclaimed.
They don't have to reclaim it. They just have to contain. It's like a shard plate.
I was going to say, because still suits work like with pump action. The act of walking pumps the stuff through it.
Yeah, and you would not want any rigid pipes near the exit when you might get bumped or hit with
at least
a
not
blast.
during fun times. I mean, I'm sure there's a context where you would want something rigid.
Right, but not when you're flying a fighter.
What got him? You don't want to.
You don't want a blast to hit your engine and jolt your ship to the side and what?
He got out, but at what cost?
It's better to just have a squishy pile for a bit.
You're right. It's like in shard plate, which Brandon Sanderson, to his credit, someone was like, "Do you poop in shard plate?" And they were like, "Yeah, why are you asking these questions?"
Yeah, it's really messy to clean up
Yeah,
afterward.
it's kind of gross. Sorry,
I can't just stop and pop the butt plate off.
The butt plate. Like in Long Johns where they have the little, it's fine, it's fine. This
shard plate with a butt flap.
Now I want to watch George of the Jungle. What is this? It's my butt flap. That's what he calls his loincloth. Butt flap. Anyway, I just remember that one time we did a collaboration with these people on Instagram, and they definitely asked me what if I was stuck on the last movie I would ever watch before I died, what would it be? And I know what they were thinking it was going to be. Something very highfalutin and art house and whatever. And I was like, fucking George of the Jungle. George of the Jungle with Brendan Fraser every single day, all day. Favorite movie, hands down. And they were like, wow, what an unusual choice.
George's just lucky, I guess.
And then they made like this whole 100 collaboration with like 100 different accounts. And everyone was like, Upstream Color and all these just really like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And like, it just really made me appreciate blah, blah. And mine was like George of the Jungle. You know why I like George of the Jungle? This is very important. Because George of the Jungle is unapologetically romantic and funny.
Mm-hmm.
It is not about making fun of George for who he is.
Right.
It is about everyone else learning to accept that there is nothing wrong with him being the way he is.
Right. Celebrating George.
And the thing that will kill us is cringe culture, and I stand by that. You need to feel free to celebrate who and what you are and what you love, free from ridicule, even internal ridicule.
Yep. That's the biggest one.
That is, you want to know why millennials are unapologetically weird most of the time? Because we grew up when no one was watching. Cringe culture is why Gen Z has effectively failed us in the way we didn't want them to fail us. They are, in a lot of ways, more conservative than we will ever be because they have been on display their entire lives. And so they live in fear. I'm not going to say this as a general rule, but at least the Gen Z people that I know live in fear of being cringe.
Yeah.
It's a thing that haunts them. I have been cringe every
once in a while I worry about it. But
you worry about being cringe?
Yeah, but I think I've spent so long. I have so many memories of being what would now be called cringe, but that producing so much happiness, joy in the people around me when I was acting like a fool without worrying about somebody mocking me for it, that now I do it deliberately.
Mocking maliciously. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Now I have that voice inside that's like, oh, don't do that. Somebody's going to make fun of you for it. But I just tell it to shut the fuck up. And I do the thing anyway. And my kids love it.
I saw a very good description.
My
of
guy
what
buddies love it.
I saw a very good description of what it's like to try to communicate as an autistic person on a reel the other day. And I meant to share it with you, but I didn't. But this lady has like a green marble and a yellow marble. And she's like, okay, I want the yellow. And the guy's like, cool, green. And she's like, no, I said yellow. And the guy's like, cool, green. You want green? And she's like, no, I said yellow. And then she's like, here. And it's a cut and then come back. And she's like, here, I got you apples because I know you like apples. And then the off-screen voice goes, why do you hate me? And she's like, what do you mean I got you apples? And she's like, they're like, why do you hate me? I don't understand why you would do something like this. And it's the like, not always, but often lack of comprehension of why you are receiving the response you're receiving.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm being incredibly clear. Are you letting the cat in? Yeah. Who is it? Of course it's Pippin. The problem child. I feel like I'm being incredibly clear. I feel like I'm communicating effectively. But whatever it is I'm trying to say is not coming out the way I want it said.
Yeah.
And when the majority of your interactions as a child are like that, you have to learn to cope with being seen as something other than the way you think you're presenting.
Mm-hmm.
So cringe becomes like, I don't know. I don't even know when I'm being cringe. So I have to assume I always am, and I just have to either roll with it or I have to live in fear of it. And how wonderful it was that we got to grow up without it. And I really hope for future generations that we have learned the lesson of letting them be online too early.
Yeah.
Because they need to be allowed to be weird and to
unmonitored.
Have fun and unmonitored. To not have an invisible audience. And I don't know why that got inserted in the middle of this episode, but I hope everybody learned something from it. Because meanwhile on the station...
oh yeah, back to Babylon 5.
Meanwhile on Babylon 5, the 6-to-1 guy is like, they've taken the bait. Which means they've gone after the Achilles. And don't worry, we'll take care of things on Babylon 5. And then Kosh arrives on Babylon 5. So if you've been wondering where Kosh has been this whole time, because we haven't seen him since the episode with the egg people.
He's been gone.
He's been gone. And they're like, welcome back. Okay, well, where was he? Did he go home for a bit?
Doing his job.
He was off doing Kosh shit.
Bathroom break.
And Morden is walking down a corridor and Kosh appears and walks by. And then he peeks out from the side corridor like, oh, hello, Kosh. But they don't see each other. Meanwhile, Delta Wing has flown off to defend the Achilles, and the only thing that really happens here is they fly off to go defend it. By the time they get there, the Raiders have left. They go to chase after it. Sinclair figures out that this is a trap. He calls and is like, come back. And they're like, cool. And that's basically all that happens with Delta Wing.
Right, because it just has agricultural supplies.
Yeah, because Sinclair figures it out immediately. Because Kiro calls Londo, and he's like, hey, we're ready to head home. Oh my God, one cat out, one cat in. They need a cat door. This is an untenable situation. Just lean that up so it's open so they can come in and out. No. Okay. So Kiro calls and he's like, hey, Ladira's really tired of watching the ship blow up over and over again in her visions. So she says it's time to go, so we're going to go. Can you get the eye? We're gonna head home. And Londo's like, cool, I told the home world you have it and that you're heading home with it. And that as soon as you get out of the jump gate, you're gonna have protection every step of the way home, which is a little bit like, hey, I went ahead and made sure that armed guards are gonna escort you home so that you don't have a chance to try to take over the government. Ding. And so he's leaving with the eye to go meet up with Kiro. And this is when Morden finds him. And he's like, whoa, dude, do you have a minute? And Londo's like, not really. You need to make an appointment. And he goes, oh, I made an appointment. He's like, cool, make another one. I don't fucking care. Londo keeps zero appointments.
Follows right behind him onto the elevator.
Yeah. Well, he goes to the elevator and he pushes the button and he ends up in the situation that he was with earlier where he's just standing there and the guy he doesn't want to talk to is standing with him too. And so he goes, why is there never a transport tube when you need one? And I like to think that Peter ad-libbed that line.
Yeah.
Because it feels right. Morden goes, I was authorized to speak with you. And he's like, okay, so like, what do you want though? You're authorized to speak with me. You're speaking with me. Out with it, sir. And he's like, that's what I came to ask you. What do you want? And he's like, well, I don't fucking have time for this. So he gets on the tube and Morden gets on the tube with him. And he's like, hey, so I can't leave until you answer this question. And I need you to answer it. What do you want? And he's like, what I want is to be left alone. And Morden's like, okay, but are you serious? Is that it? Really?
For real, for real?
Like, for real? You just want to be left alone? And he's like, you know what? Nope. Really? You want to know what I really want?
I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want.
So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I want all the glory back for the Centauri Republic. I want it fucking back. I want to be back. I want to stretch out our hands and command the stars again. I want all of it back, the way it was before.
What do you want? To be left alone.
Is that it? Is that really all, Ambassador?
All right. Fine. You really want to know what I want? You really want to know the truth? I want my people to reclaim their rightful place in the galaxy. I want to see the Centauri stretch forth their hand again and command the stars. I want a rebirth of glory, a renaissance of power. I want to stop running through my life like a man late for an appointment, afraid to look back or to look forward. I want us to be what we used to be. I want it all back the way that it was. Does that answer your question?
Does that answer your question? And Morden is like, hell yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. I don't know the rest of that song. I really wish I did. The Spice Girls has gotten, I want to like throw another line in, but the Spice Girls got dumped in some earlier purge. And then we go back to the CNC, and this is when Sinclair's like, hold on. Every other raider attack has been close to the station. This one is far away from the station. What's on that ship? And they're like, agricultural supplies. And he's, what? That's not right. This is a trap.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and then he calls and he's like, where are you guys? And they're like, chasing after the raiders. And he's like, nuh-uh, you're coming back. Turn around. Get back here right now. It's a decoy. Come back. Okay.
It's a trap.
I wish everyone could have seen your face when you did that.
Oh, I have to do the exaggerated, calamari fish face.
Because everyone should see the Admiral Akbar lips that you did for that. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Don't do it again. I'm gonna die. So Londo, Kira, and Ladira are headed down the hallway with this incredibly expensive piece of merchandise.
It's a trap.
And they get kidnapped in the hallway, and the eye gets stolen. And this guy has a gun. Garibaldi. Another one. Again. How are the guns getting on Babylon 5? You know who didn't have any guns? The dock workers. You know who by all rights should have had lots of guns? The dock workers. Maybe they do. Maybe they were just like, no, they're going to confiscate these. We might need them later.
Yeah.
I'm selling them to make up for my lost wages. Anyway, Sinclair ends up running, like after he figures out it's a decoy, he's like, okay, what ships are leaving soon? And they're like, let's see, there's a shipment full of cows.
It's a pretty slow day
and
today.
A shipment full of chickens. Oh, and a Centauri diplomatic ship full of treasure. He's like, okay, meeny, miny, mo. Oh, I think it's that one. It's not a hard guess.
10 minutes.
It's not a hard guess. So he runs down. Sinclair himself runs down. There are security personnel. Maybe they're all on the fighters. Maybe that's where the $1.3 million got cut. He had to personally see to this.
I think Garibaldi's already lined up in Alpha Wing. So Garibaldi can't go.
Yeah, Garibaldi. But other people work for Garibaldi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ostensibly.
He runs down and he's like, "Oh, hey, Londo, I got to stop you. You guys might get kidnapped or some shit." And Londo's like, "It's fine. We're fine. It's perfectly fine, Sinclair." And he's like, "What?" And then the raider guy grabs Kiro and puts a gun to his head and is like, "If anybody tries to stop me, I'm going to kill this bitch. You got to let me onto my ship." And Sinclair's like, "Your ship's right there, sir. Have a great day." And he's like, "Everyone told me you were a smart man, Sinclair. Now get the fuck out of my way." And Londo's like, "Are you fucking seriously? You're going to let that guy go?" And he's like, "Okay, Garibaldi, as soon as he's outside the station, you go ahead and disable his engines. And we'll make sure he can't use the jump gate." And this is crazy. The next jump gate is 6 light months away.
Yep.
If you don't use the jump gate at Babylon 5 and you can't make your own jump gate, it is 6 light months to the next gate.
Which I think they can travel close to light speed in normal space. The freighter at the beginning says they're traveling at light speed toward the nearest jump gate.
Yeah. I think they're like light speed, like fucking fast, like as fast as we can.
Right.
We're going light speed. Jesus.
Like 90% of light speed.
Yeah, I don't think it was like we are going the speed of light. I think it was like we are going as fast as we physically can.
Right.
Yeah. And as soon as Kiro gets off the ship and gets onto the Centauri transport, Ladira is like, the shadows are coming for him.
The shadows got him.
Yeah, eventually. So it turns out that Sinclair, correct, is the one who goes down there to confront Kiro because Garibaldi is already in a Star Fury because Alpha Wing is standing by.
Garibaldi is the Sinclair smash.
Yeah, because he's like, "All right, Garibaldi, we are go for firing on his engines and keeping him from going through the jump gate. So whatever you want to name that, let's name that and let's do that." So he rolls out to go and stop the Centauri guy. And it turns out the entirety of Alpha Wing has been deployed. So all of them go after the Centauri guy. Because he's like,
so nitpicky thing.
Okay.
Earlier, what's the word I used?
If you want to be my lover,
No.
you have got to give.
Not surveillance.
Wow, smoke is going to start coming out of your ears. You were thinking.
Subterfuge.
So, I think
Okay.
it's so hard.
The overt subterfuge guy.
Yeah.
After Delta Wing left, he said, "Okay, we're good to go because it'll take more than 2 hours to reload the Cobra bays."
Don't they have, doesn't every wing have its own bay?
Right. So when Alpha Wing launches, no problem. I wonder if that line was forgotten.
Maybe Delta Wing left more than 2 hours ago.
Maybe.
But then where would Delta Wing dock when it came back?
Right.
That doesn't make sense because they had to renovate a Cobra Bay for like the wing that we never actually use, Zeta Wing or whatever, the one that that the president brings. Because they hadn't been used because they didn't have Star Furies to occupy them.
Yeah.
So what they may mean is like if Delta comes back, you can't relaunch them for 2 hours because they can't like I don't know. It doesn't go okay. That's a good nitpick.
It implies that the Raiders are expecting a multi-hour window of time where they expect to not have a large number of Star Furies facing against them.
Yeah, that can't be the case because that would mean that you cannot launch all Star Furies all at the same time.
Right.
It would take 6 hours. It would take 4 hours
Right.
to launch all of the star and then by that time Babylon 5 had just blown up. You could have just gotten a Star Fury and
Right.
waited to drift away. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That's interesting. I missed that line.
That feels like a plot hole.
That does feel like a plot hole. Maybe he said it wrong. Maybe he meant something like it'll take at least 2 hours for them to get there. Like it'll be a 2-hour turnaround time at least. Like if we can keep them occupied for X amount of time, we'll
It was probably
fine.
supposed to be, we don't have to worry about Delta Wing because they're going to be so many hours away. They'll never get back here in time.
Right.
But they put Cobra Bays in the line. So
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, it's fine. And this is when Sinclair's like, hell yeah, we got them. They can't get through the jump gate. The nearest jump point is 6 light months away. So we've got them. And then, oh, fucking damn it. A jump.
I've seen several memes recently, and they basically all say the same thing. If you see me type H-E-H-E, it's not hee-hee, it's
Yeah, he has a moment, but then, oh shit, a jump point forms. And this really cool looking ship, actually, this like wheel formation ship with all the fighters in a wheel across.
It kind of reminds me of a scaled up version of the ship from Interstellar. That the name of his ship starts with an R. I don't remember the name of his ship.
You're
But
asking the wrong person.
It's a circular ring,
yeah.
and his ship, his like recon ship, whatever, can attach
Right around the
to
outside
the ring.
edges. Yeah.
But then another one can attach in the middle.
Yeah.
And this is like a scaled up version with multiple rings that all the fighters can attach to.
It reminded me of those fighters that you can get in StarCraft. You can be the Zerg, you can be the Terrans, or you can be the
Zolos, Colt, Terran, Zerg, and
I don't know why it left my mind. It just went, you know what, actually? You don't need that information, and it's gone.
yeah,
My life for ire. I got that. My life for ire. But I can't.
pylon constructed.
I know. I've got all the like things they repeat over and over again. Protoss. The Protoss. And they have those ships like the carriers, and they're like endgame.
Oh yeah.
And then you can make little fighters that live in the carriers, and then they'll like fly up on an enemy base and then just go and send out all
they swarm out all the little fighters.
Yeah, and you can upgrade them so they can carry more fighters.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what they reminded me of, because it just appears and all of a sudden all these fighters appear, and it itself is defenseless.
Right.
It's the fighters that make it dangerous. And they're all like, oh, that's how they're getting around. Oh my God, I feel so stupid. I mean, no shit.
If only we had imagined they had a CNC ship that could do jumps.
Wow, that
inconceivable.
That was absolutely not on my board. I did
Big
not.
Big brain move for the Raiders.
Oof, that's thinking
just
with your head meat.
Completely over.
Oh my God.
Thank you for finally using my line.
You're welcome.
Using your head meat.
It goes, close the blast doors, and the little iron, the little curtain goes
In my mind, blast doors would never be on a hinge. They're always on rails that slide.
It just reminds me of closing the
Anyway.
window. They're like, close the blast doors, and you're like, okay, and he shuts and locks the window.
Or around here, put in the storm windows.
Yeah, prepare for attack. And they just, I mean, is the outside armored?
Well, to a certain extent,
There's got
it
to be
has to be.
some amount of a gap between the outside and the inside, because like they blow up fighters like right next to, they fire at fighters in the direction of Babylon
Yes,
5.
they do. Absolutely.
If they missed, half the damage to the station is friendly fucking fire, okay? Because they're all firing in the direction of Babylon 5. And then at a certain point, they're like running along underneath the like solar ribs.
Yeah.
And firing at space. Okay, like,
so in my
fighters,
mind,
and then there's debris.
The outer shell of Babylon 5 is pretty thick, to the extent that the energy blasts from the Star Furies is strong enough to destroy other fighters, but will just kind of heat up a spot of the shell of Babylon 5.
What if it's magnetic and it can repel metal debris? It's polarized.
Well, the energy blasts are not a projectile.
No. They're hitting the fighters and the fighters are blowing up. And then there's debris from the fighters. The most dangerous thing is the half a fighter that's now careening uncontrollably towards the station.
I don't think magnetic fields would help with that.
I'm gonna go with it. You know what? Personally, because what do we watch that they polarize the hull? There's a sci-fi we watch, and that's how they protect themselves. Don't even look at me like that. It's like when I made the joke about getting stabbed in the butt, and I remembered 3 days later. That's how this is gonna go down. So stay tuned for updates, okay? But the defense grid animation gets dusted off. We haven't seen it in a while, you guys.
Defense grid. The best defense is a good offense.
And
a lot of big guns.
I really still want the blast door to pull back, the elevator to come up, and it's just a guy with a gun.
In the remake. There's going to be one defense grid cannon that isn't ready. And they just put a team of 5 or 6 people with big guns on there.
I just want that. I got one. It'll be like in The Last Starfighter when he's on his little rotating thing.
Yeah.
And he has it's the most, it should never work that way because it's slinging him all around and disorienting him.
Right.
It's fine. Maybe the guy's name is Grid. Somebody get the defense grid. Oh, is it my chance again?
Named after the great shooter defense grid. D for Daryl.
Yes. Oh my God. Anyway, there's a pew 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 space battle. Pew 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 pew. Sirens are going off on the station. People are evacuating to safe locations, which is kind of cool. They have bunkers. They're like, hey, everybody, we may experience some spontaneous decompression. So maybe get in.
Good thing.
Go home.
Good thing. There was a loss of gravity safety presentation.
They knew. So Londo tries to get Ladira.
Prepared.
Yeah, of course they're prepared. They have, maybe it's an OSHA requirement. They have to have safety things at least once a week or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. So Londo tries to get Ladira to safety, and she's just standing there like, fire, death, destruction. Not the moment, Ladira. It's not the moment. I need you to hold it together. And he's like, come on, we gotta go. We gotta get to shelter. And she's like, it doesn't matter. The shadows have come for Lord Kiro. The shadows have come for us all. One more time for the people in the back. The shadows have come for us all. So Londo ends up putting his arm around her shoulder and being like, come on, let's scream and walk. Let's scream and walk like I do with the kids when I'm like, come on, we can be upset, but we're going to be upset while we're walking. Come on, let's go. Come on. And he ends up leading her to safety, which is a really tender moment for him. And it really is we needed a tender moment with him because he's about to make a decision, which is going to be a lot bigger ultimately than we're ever going to, than we can really conceive of at this point. And so this moment of he's taking care of this lady. He has his only obligation to this lady is the obligation he had to Kiro. And at this point, for all he knows, Kiro is dead.
Right.
And he's still acting to save her because ultimately Londo does everything that he does for the love of who he wants the Centauri to be.
Right.
And I just want everybody to write that down because that's going to be important later. And we're going to talk about it a lot more as time goes on. And as Londo develops in terms of the choices that he's going to make for the love of his people. And how that shakes out for everyone, all the collateral around him. And Morden and Kosh finally meet. Because Morden's like, you know what I need to do? I need to walk down this abandoned hallway. And Kosh is like, oh my God, this is my abandoned hallway. This is where I lurk. You have to go lurk somewhere else.
Leave this place. They are not for you. Go. Leave. Now.
He goes, leave
He says
this place.
they are not for you.
Yeah.
These hallways for lurking, yeah, they're not for you.
Yeah,
they're
sure
for me.
I'm sure he's talking about the hallways. He's talking specifically about the hallways.
Yep.
Not
absolutely.
anything else.
Nope.
Leave this place. They are not for you. Go. Go now. Go on. Shoo. Shoo. I would love it if Kosh pulled out a water bottle and was like, away with you. And so this is when Sinclair's like, hey, can we recalibrate some of the defense grid to fire, I don't know, like 2 to 5 kilometer spread?
He's bringing in his fighter expertise.
Yeah, I have been on the line. I'm a fighter pilot by, like, I'm culturally a fighter pilot. I know what the fuck I'm doing.
He knows that Ivanova and Garibaldi's fighter wings are herding the enemy fighters into a small space that's easy for his guns to target.
Yeah.
So this is the three of them vibing real hard together.
And then he's like, okay, can we recalibrate it 2 to 5 kilometers and then like point it down towards the back of the station? And then he's like, okay, Ivanova, it's go time. And she's like, hell yeah. And she pops out of the jump gate where they've been waiting because Delta Wing is in the house. And he's like, cool, now we close the box.
Yep.
So they've herded them all to the end. They have fighter wings coming from either end, and they just basically put them through the meat grinder with triumphant music as all these people are exploding and dying. But they've chosen a life of crime, I'm sure entirely voluntarily and not because they didn't have any other opportunities.
Yep.
It's fine. It's not that show. It's not that show.
Well, not right now.
Yeah, and you'd think you wouldn't want ships exploding that close to the station, but whatever. And they end up giving chase to the Raider ship as it escapes, but it ends up making a jump point because it can do that, and it escapes. And when we come back, Garibaldi
Kiro's
gives us...
Centauri ship is on it.
Yeah, with Kiro. It's gone. Ivanova tries to chase it, and Sinclair's like, nah, dog, don't do that. It's not worth your time. And we come back to Garibaldi giving us a damage report, and he's like, well, we destroyed 11 fighters. We captured 4, and we're interrogating them right now. Super fun. I'm going to go back to that as soon as I'm done here. Oh, and weird thing, Kosh's encounter suit was damaged for some reason, but he won't say how. He just asked for some equipment to fix it.
Well, it seems Ambassador Kosh's encounter suit was damaged, but he's not telling how. Just asked for some equipment to have it fixed.
Maybe he fell down again. Somebody found him. He was just laying on the ground, and they're like, oh, do you need help, Mr. Kosh? And he's like, yeah. Yes.
Yes, please help me out.
He has a little jack. Oh, I wonder how that happened. So weird. Huh. Wonder how Kosh's suit got damaged. And he points out that they did lose 2 Star Furies, but only 1 pilot died. And we milk this. We milk this for like a minute. Because he's like, yeah, it was Delta 9. His sister's on the Mars colony and his dad's at home. Do you want me to notify the next of kin? And Sinclair's like, no, I'll do it. And he's like, great. He was everything to them. He had a dog. He had just adopted a kitten. He was volunteering at the local blood bank. He was getting ready to go back to school to be a doctor. He was going to save lives. He was going to travel to colonies where people normally don't work. He was going to work for free. He was going to cure the... like, okay. Okay. I'm sad. Like, we're all sad. Nobody wants anybody to die. But, like, you did kill 11 raiders. And then this guy died. And you're all like, oh, no, not... They don't give him a name either. They only call him Delta 9. And then they milk the sympathy for a minute But he's not like, yeah, his name was Jones. Nothing. We don't throw anything out. They're just like, I don't know, the guy that piloted Delta 9. I'm pretty sure he's got a family, right? Most people have family on Mars and Earth. So, like, I don't know. It's weird. I get it. They're trying to give this moment emotional impact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure it sticks the landing. And he does say, hopefully we hit them hard enough that we'll never see them again. And Garibaldi's like, I don't know. That was a pretty fucking big ship. And Sinclair's, basically the conversation is like, it will take so much resources for them to rebuild their fighters that the odds of them returning to business is really low.
Right.
So,
especially anytime soon.
I think we're good for a while. And then Londo and Ladira show up. And Sinclair's like, oh, hey, exactly the people I wanted to see. Do you care to explain yourself about why they attacked and what you had and what it was doing here and why you lied about it and didn't claim it?
Why was there nothing on the cargo manifest?
And Garibaldi's like, everybody lies. And then he pulls up the sheet of paper that they gave Ladira when she first showed up, and she was like, nothing to claim.
The shipping manifest doesn't lie. People do.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And we have a pretty good workaround for her to actually having to, because if we had to sit down and explain all this again, it would be like, okay, I mean, we all just watched the episode. But she just goes, it's a long story, Commander. And he goes, my time is your time. And then she picks up a cup of coffee and she has a vision in this cup of coffee of Kiro. And we find out that Kiro collaborated with the Raiders. He was the one feeding them transport times. He was the one feeding them information so that they could kidnap him with the eye so that he could keep the eye.
So he could complete his whole idea of
so he
becoming the emperor.
Right. And they're like, did you seriously think we were going to just get you and not take from you like the most valuable thing to the Centauri Republic right now?
You're so gullible.
He's like, we're big, we're organized, but we can't fucking overthrow a government. But what we can do is ransom the eye and get enough money to buy 2 or 3 more of these ships and then blackmail you for cash for the rest of your life. Sucker. And Kiro's like, oh, dang it. I thought I was doing a really good job.
I really done been got this time.
My plan did not pay off for me.
Man, what happened to the good old days?
When Raiders used to be afraid of me. It's just, he looks so betrayed. Like, no, I can't believe you did that. And it's literally like, I paid you $1,000 to steal the $100,000 thing. I don't know why you kept the $100,000 thing. I already gave you $1,000. What is your problem?
Yeah.
And they're like, look at the bright side. You're not going home as the new emperor, but you're going to get to go back home alive. And then sirens start going off in the ship. And then we go to the exterior of the ship. And this really big, weird, black, leggy looking spaceship thingy kind of ripples and appears out of nowhere and then just blows up the Raiders in one shot. And I am absolutely positive all the way down to my bones that that is not significant and we are never going to see anything like that ever again. Never. God, I can't believe Babylon 5 would throw that red herring in there. I really wish we'd gotten more storyline with whatever that was because it's such a mystery and we're never going to come back to it.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. If you want a red string, you're going to need all the red string. So just go ahead and draw a picture of a spider, stick a little pin in it, tie off a whole big ball of red because you're going to need all of it. And this is when the coffee cup breaks and we come back because Ladira was seeing all that.
And from Sinclair's perspective, she picked up his cup off the table and then threw it on the ground.
Yeeted it down.
And he wasn't even done with his coffee yet.
He just got it. Because
right?
Garibaldi just poured it. And coffee is so expensive. And he was like, my time is your time. And she's like, is it? She just picks his coffee up and goes,
your
yeet!
coffee is my coffee.
Do you still have all the time in the world or what? And he's like, my coffee. At least it was only partway full.
Yeah.
I guess. And it's not one of the cool coffee cups. It's just like a standard coffee cup. Yeah. But
Earth Alliance swag.
I guess it worked because they don't have any more chat. They don't have any more conversation with
I wonder if
Sinclair.
Does she convey that story knowing that Hero was playing them all? Or does she like try to maintain his honor? I guess they're in the same family, like same noble house, whatever. So she's not going to disparage her noble house.
No, because she would go down with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have the final convo with Ladira and Londo because we don't see any of the rest of what she says to Sinclair. And he's like, I'll see you to your ship and, have a nice ride home. And I guess I'll be leaving in a couple days too because, yeah, this is the fucking end of my career.
Yeah.
Because
even if we do get them the eye,
even if we do find it again, it's going to be so expensive that there's no way we already paid enough to buy a small planet is what he says at the very beginning. We already paid like too much money for this fucking thing. And now I'm like, oh my God, like it's all over. Everything is over. It's all gone. Everything that I worked for is gone. And she leaves like, okay, well, sorry about the end of your career and all, but I got to go home now. Fire, death, destruction. She leaves. And the doorbell rings and he's like, whoever it is, go away. And it rings again and he's like, you know what? What's one more annoyance? I feel like that's how I'm going to answer everything from here on out. It's going to answer my kids from, what's one more annoyance? The door opens and it's Morden. And he's like, oh my God. Now.
This fucking guy.
Right now. He's like, can you go away? It's late and I'm in no mood for your games. And he's like, oh, I'm about to go. This is a short visit because I got what I came for. You. I got what I came for.
A hook.
You. And so in the meantime, here, it's a gift from friends you don't know you have yet. And it's the eye. And the fact that they're able to blow the ship up and then retrieve the eye is very impressive.
Yep.
They're like, blow up only that part of the ship.
Right.
Not that
like,
part of the
ship. We
ship.
actually know where the eye is in this ship.
I mean, maybe they do.
Yeah.
And he opens it and he's like, oh my God, the eye. But Morden's already gone. And he's like, oh my God, let me buy you a drink. Let me buy you an entire fleet of drinks. And there's no one there. But he's like, how can I find you to thank you? And then a disembodied voice is like, we'll find you, Ambassador. When we need you. And he's like, okay, cool. That doesn't sound ominous at all. Fuck yes. I don't have to lose my job. Poor Londo. This
does not know what he's getting himself into.
This moment right here is going to be so much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want everybody to remember where it started. Because when we get to the end, it's going to be real fun to talk about everything that happened. And then we cut to Garibaldi and Sinclair. Whose decision was it to be like, men talk in the bathroom, right? Men talk in the bathroom. I mean, they don't even give a courtesy urinal. They're standing side by side. Do men
don't stand at adjacent urinals.
That's what I can't imagine.
I mean, it's not that big a deal, but there's a whole meme about.
You give a courtesy gap. Even if I'm going to the bathroom in stalls, because, I go to the women's bathroom, I don't go to an adjacent stall if there is space enough to give a
adjacent stall is fine.
It's different. When men go in the bathroom,
anyway,
if you go in the stall, you know why you've gone in the stall. Okay. With women, it could go either way.
Yeah.
There's actually multiple things you could be doing. There's not just pee and poop.
They finish at the urinals. They walk over and they just put their hand.
I'm not done with the urinal. Oh, the sigh. The sigh you sighed. I just wanted to point out that we gave the urinals the same distressed metal texture that we gave literally everything else. It's a choice, okay? You're right. And then they go UV wash their hands.
Yeah.
And it's like whoop, whoop when they do their hands. I feel like that would probably be good.
Reminds me of the sonic shower from Star Trek.
Yeah. I feel like more people would wash their hands if you just had to stick it in the light.
Yeah.
And they're chatting. They're doing a wrap-up chat. They're chatting about the Raiders. They're chatting about the Londo shitstorm. And it was all because he lied. And they're hoping that there's enough Raiders, when they get shipped back to Earth, they get a big enough punishment that it will hopefully deter other Raiders.
But as they're walking through the hallway, a woman walks past them into the same bathroom.
Right. And it's fine. I have literally zero objection to a unisex bathroom.
Yeah. All fine.
I will go in a men's bathroom if there is a long line for a women's bathroom. If, and this is my caveat, there is no urinals. If there is a urinal, I will not use an actively in use male bathroom with men in it. Because that shit's just out there. That's not a thing that women do. We don't pee in front of each other. So, and that feels intrusive. Going to where we're all in individual stalls, it's like if I was at a friend's house, we're all going to use the same bathroom anyway.
Right.
It's all the same. So I have no problem with them having a unisex bathroom.
But it's the urinals out.
It's the urinals.
Facing the entranceway.
And facing the entranceway with like a pony wall. So
Yeah.
you can be like, it's like, oh, God damn it. He's like, hey, Sinclair, sup? And he's like, hey, I'd wave, but it's a two-hander, if you know what I mean. It's like...
and it's Ivanova that walked in. Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I know. Your pants are tight. And he's like, woo! Like, there's just no way we can, unless...
It's military.
I guess. Is it? Or are these just
They're all sir.
Is this the Zocalo bathroom? I don't know. Like, okay. In other cultures, it would be, I mean, when I was in China, there were definitely stall-less bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
They were women only. I don't know. I can't make this work. Unisex is fine, but the urinals need to be in stalls. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. A separate just side room of urinals.
Unless it's a total destigmatization of all
bathroom
of that.
stuff.
Of bathroom stuff. Yeah, that's just like we all pee. I mean, we're all in Star Furies. We all know we're peeing in our spacesuits. What's the difference? What's the difference? I can see it if it's like we're all so used to the communal lack of privacy on spaceships because we've been a spacefaring race for so long that our entire concept of privacy has changed. And
That's a good point.
We have already thought more about this than they did. However, sometimes that's the fun part, you know? And so that's what I'm going to chalk it up to, which is just like to get out here, we've all been using the same bathrooms because there's not enough space.
Right. And early spaceships would have been like submarines, and submarines, it's a whole different culture.
Right. And so you would have had to get over it.
Yeah.
Long ago.
Especially career military.
Yeah. And there might not be space to move with the number of people that are using that bathroom. It makes sense because urinals are more compact.
Yeah.
You can move a lot of dudes through urinals. Whereas stalls are more like everybody has their stalls. I just want to point all that out. It's like in Wolf. For some reason in the 90s, we felt compelled to have these moments where men were having like any scriptwriter at any given moment in the 90s felt the moment of inspiration that men have heart-to-heart chats in the bathroom while peeing together.
Nah.
Because
bro.
In Wolf, there's the part where Jack Nicholson pees on James Spader's shoes. And he's like, I'm just marking my territory. Yep. It's fine. And then it always reminds me of In the Shape of Water when that one guy goes to the bathroom and he's like, a real man washes on the way in, not on the way out.
Yep.
Such a weird moment. Anyway, this is when Garibaldi is like, okay, hey, so our dicks aren't out right now. I have some testicle shrinking news for you, bro. Did you know that you were not the first choice to be the leader of Babylon 5? And Sinclair's like, I mean, it's a little weird. I was working at a radar station in Alaska or some shit. Like, I don't know. And they were like, hey, you want to be the head of a space station? And he was like, I mean, I guess it sounds like a fun challenge. And he's like, do you know how far down the list were you? And he was like, I don't know, like 5. And Garibaldi's like, nah, man, you were, I mean, down. You were so far down. You were practically last choice. He's like, literally the only reason you got this job is because the Minbari only agreed to be a part of the Babylon 5 project if they got to approve the person in charge, and they would only approve you. And he's like, oh, wow, okay. Why? Garibaldi's like, dude, I have no fucking clue.
More seeds being planted.
Yeah, I know.
But it completely undermines our discussion from last time that they selected Sinclair to be the head with the expectation that he would fail at it.
They may have
gone along with it.
I was going to say, they may not have fought the Minbari as hard as they could have. Although the Minbari might have been like, we have one choice.
Okay, let's compare lists. We have one.
They have like 3 pages of names, and the Minbari just have Sinclair written in crayon. Jeffrey Sinclair.
Across the entire sheet of paper.
And they're like, no, we need a list. And they're like,
this is it.
This is it. One.
Oh, wait, hold on. They draw a circle next to the J, so it looks like a bullet point. There you go. A single item list.
They're like, there's only one on this. And they're like, does that make it not a list? And then they just Minbari off.
Does that invalidate the list?
Okay. I mean, I'm fine being proved wrong here because it's a good moment. They could be letting him continue. Like they could be, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why he became leader of Babylon 5, but majority of it was that Minbari were like, yeah, we know who we want in charge. And he ends up going to meet Ladira at the disembarkation zone. Not the embarkation zone, but the when we're getting off the Babylon 5. Yep. Off Babylon 5.
Debarkation?
Disembarkation. And she's like, I'm still having the fire, death, murder, death, kill vision.
The vision.
The murder, death, kill.
Still is.
Demolition Man. Such a good movie. And he's like, oh, okay, but we stopped the raiders. They didn't blow up Babylon 5, so like I think we're good. And she's like, oh, no. My last prophecy about my nephew, that one took like 60 years. This Babylon 5 thing. You got to let it cook.
It could be a while.
You got to let it cook. She's like, no, that vision is still there. And I can show it to you. And he's like, okay. And again, the casual acceptance of what we would interpret as like mysticism is chef's kiss. The woo-woo wiggle room in Babylon 5 is perfection because it gives us so much space for like, you can't do that on television. We don't end up boxed in by science. And woo-woo wiggle room is my new it's my new trademark phrase. I'm going to use it all the time. Because he's like, oh, you can share your vision. Yeah, that's totes fine. And she's like, cool. And so she does like it's not a Vulcan mind meld. It's not a Vulcan mind meld. She's like, here you go. Here's the vision. And so it is. It's Babylon 5 blowing up. And Sinclair looks shook. He's like, okay, but like, is that a vision of what will be or what could be? Like, is the future set in stone? Which is a really good question.
This is it a vision of what will be or what might be?
The future is always changing. We create the future with our words, our deeds, and with our beliefs. This is a possible future, Commander. And it is my hope that you may yet avoid it.
And she's like, no, the future is mutable.
We're all constantly creating the future.
Yeah, it's a sum of like our constant ongoing decisions. So it's changeable. And I really hope that you can avoid it. Like, I really hope that you can come up with a chain of decisions that does not lead to Babylon 5 blowing up. And then she walks away to the like remixed epic trailer music version of the Babylon 5 theme song. And that's the end of the episode. This is such a fascinating episode because when you strip it down to its parts, it's not very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot happens. Raiders, which have been a very consistent thing that has happened. Raiders feel at this point like a trope that they just pull out when they're like, we need someone off the station.
Cheap conflict.
Oh no, there's raiders. So, okay, the raiders are back and bigger than ever. Okay, fine, whatever. And then the whole eye thing. It's not even the first time that Londo's gotten himself into shit.
Smuggled stuff.
And had to get himself out of the shit. And so you're like, okay, we're recycling that plot line. Kosh is being mysterious, which is something he legally does. Like, it's his only obligation.
Mm-hmm.
Delen's doing arts and crafts in her room. I don't even know what that's about.
Wink, wink.
That's every time. Okay, it's fine. We're going to get there later. But she's building a thing. Anybody else notice she's building a thing? It's weird, right? She's building a thing.
Spinning a web, one might say.
She's constructing a tower for some. It's like a house of cards.
House of cards.
It's a tower. All roads lead to the tower.
Child Roland to the Dark Tower came.
So she's doing arts and crafts in her room. She has a bit of a nexus. I mean, everyone's just doing their thing, right? On the surface, the only thing that happens that feels like, that was interesting, was Morden.
Morden, yep.
So this is one of those episodes that the first way through would have been like, what just happened? The vision is cool. Okay. Morden is cool. But like, what else happened? And then when you go back on a rewatch, you're like, oh my God, this is so good. So I appreciate this because when Babylon 5 came out, you weren't making television with rewatching in mind. And so to create this type of episode was so visionary and so amazing. And I'm so excited to continue with the series now because we've done a big push. We've kicked the plot in the pants a little bit. And of course, we're going to stall out for a while. We have to stall out for a while. It's how they had 20 episodes to make. They had shit to do, but this is good. I'm so happy to finally meet Morden. And I think that's probably a good place to leave it. I think we managed to do pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Only 2 hours.
Not doing too many spoilers.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I know. I keep thinking, all right, this is the episode where it's just going to be short. It's not going to take that long to cover. And then it's like 3.5 hours later, we're singing the Spice Girls. We're making cracks about head meat. Oh, my God. I don't know. You know what you're here for. You're here for... Hopefully somebody has a 2-hour commute. 1 hour one way, 1 hour the other way. And they're like, thank God I finally found a podcast that talks for the entire time that I'm in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll leave it here. You have anything to add?
We live for the one.
We die for the one. Until next time, friends.
Bye.
Bye.